This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge. From worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hello and welcome to ZPG Ice Maidens, the only dedicated Women's National Ice Hockey League podcast.
Part of the ZPG network of UK ice hockey podcasts.
We're in partnership with the Hockey Archive, hockey clothing for hockey people, worn by the best
and hated by the rest.
Listen to the ZPG network.
Get a 10% discount on everything
at hockeyartclothing.co.uk.
Just enter the code ZP10 on checkout to get your discount.
We're also part of the Sports Social Podcast Network,
the biggest sports podcast network in Europe,
boasting over 450 podcasts
for more than 15 different sports.
Hello and welcome back for what seems the first time in a long time. We've got a lot to catch up on, haven't we? Starting with games that were played at the very end of November and beginning of December. So first of all, let's head over to the news, where Solent Amazons forward Kelly Stevenson was awarded an MBE by the Princess Royal at Windsor Castle, no less. Kelly, who is a sergeant in the Royal Military Police and a member of the Adjutant General's Corps, was one of 55 British Army personnel to be recognised with an honour or an award in the military division of King Charles III's birthday honours list. A huge congratulations then to Kelly. The afternoon of Sunday the 1st of December saw two female officials on the ice for a men's Elite League game for the first time in 6 years, when Amy Pryor and Holly Neenan donned the stripes in Nottingham, where the Panthers hosted the Dundee Stars. It was also the first time that the officiating team was represented equally by men and women as referees and on the lines in more than 10 years. Way to go, ladies! Talking of Dundee, the Dundee Royals have announced their intention to bring women's ice hockey back to the Scottish city and increase female participation in the sport. There have been a series of open scrimmages and training sessions over the past few weeks, so hopefully it could see us gaining a fourth Scottish team in the WNIHL. There was also strong rumours about a women's team starting in Glasgow, and one fan suggesting an all-Scottish league isn't far away. That would be incredible if it happened, with so much talent currently located north of the border. A fourth and perhaps fifth Scottish team would join the Dumfries-based Solway Sharks, the Caledonia Steel Queens, who play out of Murrayfield in Edinburgh, and the Caledonia Steel Queen Bees, who play at the Border Rink in Kelso. And while we're on the subject, the EIHA have conducted an inspection of the rink in Kelso, passing it fit for continued use for hockey games after there was a concern over the height of the boards. The Borders rink was only ever meant for curling, but has adapted well to hosting hockey games, with even visiting teams commenting about how they enjoyed the unique charm the facility has to offer. And finally, GB get their Olympic qualifying campaign underway next week when they host Latvia on Thursday, before further games with Spain on Saturday and the Netherlands on Sunday. The winners of the group will advance to the final qualification stage, with the prospect of going to the Olympic Games in Milan for 2026. Tickets for the games at Ice Sheffield are still available, so please do check out the Ice Hockey UK website for further details. Or if you can't attend the games in person, please do tune into the live streams of the games, where I will be joined by GB legend Louise Adams. Solihull Vixens have taken another huge step towards clinching the Elite League title with a second win of the season over reigning champions Queen Bees. The Vixens' 9-4 win in Slough sees them having yet to drop a point this season. Peyton Fincher gave the Vixens a lead with barely a minute on the clock after she put home from Robin Mullen. The Nova Scotian forward then scored herself a couple of minutes later, with Alicia Potts recording an assist. With Maddie Wright serving a tripping penalty, it gave the Queen Bees a perfect chance to get themselves back in the game. However, it was Solihull who scored again, with a short-handed goal from Laura Horwood. Mullen would score again at 11:24 from Maddie Wright to take a 4-0 lead, prompting the Queen Bees to call a time-out. But the home side responded well, generating 20 shots during the opening period, although Vixens goalie Kayla Poole was proving to be dominant inside her crease. Their persistence would pay off when they grabbed a goal back with 50 seconds left in the period, Lily Endicott scoring from Rachel Cartwright. They carried that improved form with them into the second period, where Catherine Gale converted on a power play from Amelia Williams 3 minutes after a restart. Once again, Kayla Poole was kept busy, facing 21 shots in the middle session. But Jodie Alderson-Smith scored from Mullen at 26:34 to make it 5-2, before Estelle Ip responded again for the Queen Bees from Talia Davidson-Wright, meaning it was a 2-goal game once more. It would be as close as the Queen Bees would get, with the Vixens firing 4 unanswered goals. Katie Henry scored from Amelia Potts with less than 2 minutes remaining in the period, before Alicia scored from Mullen inside the first minute of the final session. Laura Horwood then converted on the power play a couple of minutes later, with Jodie Alderson-Smith, who assisted on that play, completing the scoring with 12 minutes to go. Kayla Poole once again faced 20 shots in the final period, only being beat the once. Catherine Gale scoring a short-handed goal with 30 seconds to go. Lily Endicott was named player of the game for Queen Bees, with Ellen Pereira-Murray awarded for the Vixens. After the game, Andrew Day spoke to Solihull and GB captain Jodie Alderson-Smith.
Hi, we're Jodie Alderson-Smith. Just won for the Vixens today. What was your thoughts on the game?
I think we started really strong. I thought Vixens came out strong in the first period. I think the second period, I think the Queen Bees came out stronger. Obviously, they scored 4 goals in that period, 3 goals in that period. But then we picked it up after the third and came out with the win.
Okay. I believe you scored a couple of goals. Do you want to talk us through them?
Yeah, 2 breakaway kind of goals today. One kind of one-on-one, but getting followed by the defenseman, and then the second one I went off and scored 5-hole breakaway.
Right. And I believe you've got the Olympic qualifiers coming up soon. How are you looking forward to that?
No, we're really excited. I think the team's looking strong. Everyone's excited to be on home ice, and I hope to see everyone in Sheffield and hopefully fill out Sheffield and come out with the win.
Thank you very much for your time, Jodie. Thank you.
The Kingston Diamonds travelled down to Guildford on Saturday with a short bench, but came away with a massively important second win of the season. Kiana Tate scored on the power play from B. Leicester inside the first 4 minutes to give the Diamonds the lead. Kiana, who continues to impress with her form, had a hand in her side's second goal at 11:42. She combined with defender Holly Cornford to set up Mia Forbes to give the Hull-based side the perfect start down in Surrey. Both sides created plenty of chances, with Guildford's Marley Easton and Kingston's Georgia Ashton being kept busy. But it would be the Diamonds who would score again just after the midpoint of the game, Lydia Lutwich netting from Mia Forbes and Katie Payton. Guildford headed into a final period with some work to do and got their reward when finding the net twice in just over a minute. Beth Hill pulled one back at 46:09 before Sam Payne made it a 1-goal game seconds later when putting home from Keely Walsh and Zara Berwick. It was now very much a case of game on, but Kingston scored a 4th goal 5 minutes later to give themselves some much-needed breathing space. Anya Kadievich netted against their former side from Lydia Lutwich and Grace Cooper. With 4 minutes to go, the Lightning pulled Marley for the extra attacker. However, 31 seconds later, the Diamonds scored an empty netter to confirm victory. Kiana Tate getting her second of the game, with Grace Cooper collecting a second assist. With around 3.5 minutes to go, Guildford were not giving up just yet and pulled Marley for a second time in the hope of getting a quick goal back. But the Diamonds held on for what was a massive 2 points as we head into the Christmas break. Kingston's player of the game was Anya Kadievich, with Guildford's award going to May Sullivan. The Whitley Bay Beacons ended 2024 in the most perfect way with a thrilling 2-1 win away to Streatham Storm last Sunday. Whitley were without forwards Ruby Newlands, Becky Kastner-Wood, Kimberly Brengan and Jess Bridger, along with defenders Vicky Smith and Heidi Dunn. That meant Steph Towns, Abby Coulshaw and Danielle Turnbull stayed together on the top line, with new signing Cassie McGregor making her Beacons debut alongside her GB under-18 line-mate Emma Lamberton and Claire Turnbull. Emily Luck and Amanda McWilliams were on the third line, with Steph and Emma rotating in at centre. Casey Trail made a welcome return on defence after missing the last 3 games due to injury. She partnered Caitlin Morrison, while Caitlin Stocks formed a strong pairing with Jade Cito. Goalie Sam Bolwer was also unavailable, meaning Lucy Gruber made her first start of the season, and she put in a display which is up there with some of the best goaltending performances ever seen in the Women's Elite League. Streatham lined up with Katie Dadd at centre on the top line, with her former GB under-18 coach Angela Taylor and the impressive American student Savannah Johnson either side of her. Gillian Fales, Susanna Dobrovolna and Laura Cope formed the second line, while Christina McLean, Jen Lawrence and Maria Murray made up the third line. Forwards Isabel Whiteley and Viv McGee were moved back to the blue line to help support Beth Milne, Jolie Hao Chong and Jane Andrill. Julia Bevan, who has been in outstanding form for the Storm all season, started in goal. Whitley started the game as the strongest side, taking the game to Streatham. So when the visitors took the lead 8 minutes in, it wasn't that much of a surprise. Casey Trell putting home on the power play from Abby Coulshaw's rebound. Streatham came back into the game during the final 10 minutes of the first period, with both sides much more even. However, it was a deserved lead for the Beacons as they headed into the second period. That all changed in the middle session as the South London side threw everything at the Beacons. Lucy Gruber was called into action several times, making 24 saves, with some impressive kick saves to go along with those from her glove, blocker and pads. The Storm continued to pressure the Beacons in the third period, and they got their reward at 43-26 when a shot came loose behind Gruber after she had made the save. Christina McLean crept in behind to tap home into an empty net after what appeared to be a long whistle from the sole official. On the balance of play, it was perhaps the least the Storm deserved from the game, but once again it was a bounce that had gone against the Beacons for it to come about. Streatham had plenty of time to find a winner with over 16 minutes left, but the game perhaps changed with 10 minutes to go when the Beacons, who were already on a power play, had a 2-player advantage for the next minute and 14 seconds. Captain Abby Coulshaw was trying to lead a play in the offensive zone when Streatham defender Jane Andrill lost an edge and slid into her, tripping the GB international and accidentally launching her into the air. The heavy landing saw Abby have to leave the game for the final minutes with what looked to be a serious injury. Tensions were high at that point, and it was perhaps understandable that a brief skirmish broke out. With drill called for interference, it meant the Beacons had a 5-on-3 advantage, and they used it to their fullest, converting with 9 seconds left on the first penalty when Casey Trell netted her second power play marker of the game. From the resulting face-off, Streatham threw caution to the wind, and despite still having to play 55 seconds a player short, went straight onto the attack to try and force an equaliser. Gruber came up big again with 17 saves as the tension continued to build inside the rink. With 2 minutes 30 to go, Emily Luck, who along with Amanda McWilliams was having a great game, was called for a slashing penalty. Streatham had their first power play of the game and then called a timeout. Halfway through the power play, the Storm decided to pull goalie Julia Bevan for the extra attacker and to go for a 6-on-4 advantage. Whitley defended brilliantly and saw off every Storm attack. They returned to full strength with 30 seconds to go and still had to defend a couple of last chances, but they completed the job to go into the Christmas break in the best possible way, having secured a second win of the season, and will start the new year with the most number of points they have ever collected at this stage of the season in the Elite League. All 4 Beacons defenders were outstanding, with each contributing with crucial plays to clear the danger from their zone. That wasn't always easy, with a relentless attack coming in from the Storm that saw them camped inside the Beacon zone for much of the final 2 periods. Cassie McGregor had a positive debut with some good shots, which forced Julia Bevan into making some important saves, and the Dumfries-born youngster also recorded an assist on her debut. Beacons return to action in the new year when they travel to face league leaders Solihull Vixens on the 4th of January. After the game, I spoke with Storm forward Savannah Johnson. Welcome to Ice Maidens, where today I'm catching up with Streatham Storm forward Savannah Johnson. First of all, Savannah, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Well, it was a close game, a slender 2-1 defeat, but what were your thoughts on the game?
I think there were some tough points in the game, some tough calls, but I think overall we played well. I think we played a good game. I'm proud of my teammates. I think they did a good job. Yeah,
I'd agree. It's always difficult when it's such a close game like that not to come away with something. Whitley Bay probably started quite brightly, got that power play goal to get ahead, but then Storm came back into it late in that period, didn't they?
Yeah, we did. I thought that was great play. We did really well. But, stuff happens.
Yeah, second period, Storm probably edged that one. They generated a lot of shots and carried that form into the third period where you get the equalising goal.
Yeah, I think second period was our best period. We really had the puck most of the game period, but didn't get the shots in the net. So yeah. Lucy Gruber faced 55 shots, making 54 saves. So that's quite a big performance. She had some great saves. I'm not even going to lie. Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously going into the third, Beacons get ahead on the 5-on-3 power play. Always difficult to defend the 5-on-3, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 5-on-3 is rough. I think that my teammates on the PK they did everything they could. 5-on-3 is rough. It's a goal is likely on a 5-on-3, so I think they did everything they could, and well.
They certainly did, yeah. And then once they were back to 4 skaters, it was like Storm thought, well, we're goal behind, we're going to go for it here, and that's exactly what you did last 7 minutes. It was just relentless, and Whitley were probably holding on a little bit there.
Yeah, I think we did well in the last 7 minutes. I think, again, we had the puck. Again, it just didn't make it in the net. But
Yeah, tough bounces. But how's the season gone so far?
I think our season's been pretty good. Tough losses, some great wins. I think balance of both. The girls are great. I like the team. I don't know. It's been a pretty decent season so far.
That was going to be my next question. Like, how are you finding it over here? Because you're on the other side of the pond now, aren't you?
Yeah. No, this is my first season out here in the UK. It's hockey's hockey. It's the same thing pretty much. I like it.
Well, that's good to hear. How does it compare to back home?
Obviously, ice hockey is a lot more established back in the States. But I honestly don't really find. It's not that different. I think the level of play, the competition, it's very comparable.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And well, great to have you over here. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
On to Division 1 South now then, and the Chelmsford Cobras welcome the Cardiff Comets to Essex on Saturday for their second matchup this season. Cobras started strong and struck first, with Brittany Stoneman scoring just 24 seconds into the first period. Cobras would continue with great offensive pressure throughout, scoring another 3 times before the period was over. Evie Lawrence netted at 11:23, with Charmaine Easton finding the net twice, less than 4 minutes apart. Evie collected an assist on the second of those goals, which came inside the final minute of the period. Lilith Wright made her Cobras debut in goal, stepping up from the Pythons and putting in a strong performance to keep the Comets from getting on the scoresheet in the first period and making 9 saves. The second period saw the Comets try to change the flow of the game, successfully pocketing 2 goals during the period. Liv Taylor scored both, with her first coming 3 minutes into the second period from Maddie Davis, and her second arriving with 23 seconds left in the session from Luan Luzo. The Comets continued strong into the third, with multiple shots on net to try and draw back level, but the Cobras' defence and right in net kept the South Wales side from striking again, and allowing the Cobras to go on the tap themselves, with Easton getting 2 more goals before the game was over. Evie Lawrence grabbed another assist for her third point of the game, while Brittany Stoneman also recorded an assist, her third of the game and fourth point of the night. Charmaine Easton had a 5-point game with 4 goals and an assist. Cardiff goalie Ella Lawrence faced an impressive 42 shots on goal and stood tall throughout the game, with Lilith Wright making 25 saves on her way to her side's Player of the Game award. The Swindon TopCats took on the Milton Keynes Falcons on Sunday without top scorer Ellie Wallace, but thankfully for the Wiltshire side they didn't need her as they raced into a 3-goal lead during the first period. With Emma Comer serving a slashing penalty, Swindon scored a short-handed goal when Joy Scott-Russell netted from Katie Reid 8 minutes in. Swindon doubled their lead just over a minute later when Lily Endicott put home from Natalia Roldan-Merck and Amelia Williams. And before the period was over, Emma Comer also netted to ensure the TopCats would hold a strong advantage going into the break. Katie Reid and Joy Scott-Russell registered the assists. The Falcons got a goal back 4 minutes into the second period when Caitlin Barraclough scored from Lizzie Archer on the power play. Katie Reid and Ellie Shaw scored a couple of minutes apart in the period to make it 5-1. Ellie collected an assist on the first of those goals as well, with Lily Endicott doing so on the second. Miley Drazy completed the scoring at 57-40, with Michelle Shermer getting the assist. Swindon's player of the game went to Joy Scott-Russell, with Falcons' Kaylee Doyle making 37 saves. Bristol Huskies continued their unbeaten start to the season with an impressive 5-1 win at home to Firebees. Jess Jones scored from Katie Edgington early into the second period to give Bristol the lead. The second arrived a couple of minutes later when Becky Dakova scored from Ellen Pereira-Murray. Firebees pulled one back soon after when Isabel Bennett found the net from Talia Davidson-Wright, but Bristol responded moments later when Katie Edgington and Jess Jones combined to set up Mila Peroni for 3-1. After a goalless second period, the Huskies soon found the net again early into the third, Ellen Pereira-Murray scoring 2 minutes in. Jess Jones netted late on in the game to make it 5-1 with a short-handed goal. Huskies' player of the game went to Beth Walden, while 4 of the Bristol Puppies under-16s team made the step up into senior hockey, with Evie Corson, Hope Carlson, Sophie Benson and Amelia Worth all making their debut. Huskies forward Katie Edgington was mic'd up during practice this week, with the audio coming up next.
One time! Woo! Say something to the mic.
Hello, Mike.
That was rubbish.
I like my suitcase.
H-O-T-T-O-T-O. Woo! Go Huskies! Oh my god, I should not have had that hot chocolate. Ah! H-O-T-T-O-T-O. I like my suitcase. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Hey. Oh my god, this and yap. Oh my day. I literally went so far and I was like, I forgot to shoot. I'm a ballerina. Ah! I know something you don't. I don't know the rest of the sound. Let's go. Yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, so check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
You know what happened? That's it, blame the goalie. Should not have had that hot chocolate. I am definitely going to be sick. Jem, stop saving the puck. Ah! Ding. Woo!
We move now on to Division 2 North and an end-to-end game which saw Leeds Roses take on Kingston Diamonds in Hull, with the visitors taking the lead early on in the first period. Defender Kirsty Hodgins scoring her first Roses goal at 7:46. CJ Harrison then found the net from Tori Johnson on what was a delayed penalty goal later in the session, before Jasmine Tolson scored her first Roses goal before the period was over. Taylor Simmons scored from Jazz Daniel early into the second period, with CJ Harrison getting her second of the game soon after. Kim Sharples and Taylor Simmons both collecting assists on the play. The Roses were ruthless as the period wore on, scoring 3 goals in as many minutes. Morgan Walker scored the first from Sophie Lancashire, with Tori Johnson soon adding a second, and Jazz Daniel completed the burst soon after that. Sarah Rowland scored twice 40 seconds apart midway through the final period, the first coming on the power play, before Izzy Oswin scored a consolation goal for the Diamonds with 23 seconds to go, Sonia Bryce collecting the assist. It was a tough game for Kingston against what was a strong Leeds team, but they fought hard throughout. Bartha McCormick made her Roses debut in goal and held her own, almost keeping a shutout until the final few seconds. Bartha earned the Players' Player Award, with the player of the game going to Jasmine Tolson and the hardest worker to Taylor Simmons for 1 goal and 3 assists. Player of the game for the Diamonds was defender Erica Proud. In Division 2 South, Esther Haskins scored an early power play goal for the Slough Sirens 2 minutes in against Peterborough. But the Phantoms earned a first point of the season when Scarlett Shelton netted from Hannah Mesarosova at 36-42 to make it 1-1. Stacey Horn was named the Phantoms player of the game, while the club also streamed the game on their YouTube channel and can be watched back. It was definitely a weekend of 2 halves for the Coventry Phoenix, as they suffered an 11-0 loss to a Cambridge Kodiaks team on the rampage, then swiftly regrouped to triumph 11-0 themselves against WNIHL 2 newcomers Bristol Huskies. First was the Return Challenge Cup match against Cambridge at home. The Kodiaks had switched up some of their tactics from the previous week, and the Phoenix struggled to contain wave after wave of offensive attacks. Defensively, Cambridge shut down almost every Phoenix breakout in the neutral zone. The Kodiaks wanted to bank more points in their cup group before returning to league action. Like the previous week, Alicia Anderson got the Kodiaks on the board. Christina Ashley bagged 2 goals with assists going to Julia Mabry and Josie Milton, before Mabry netted an unassisted goal, and Yoa Hoshizaki also found the net from Catherine Leake to make it 5-0 before the period was over. It took Cambridge a while to get going again after a restart, but at 29:54, with a Coventry player in the penalty box, Sarah Carvenan converted on the power play to make it 6, before her line with Josie Milton and Christina Ashley scored twice in 11 seconds. First, Ashley picked up a hat-trick from Anderson's assist, before the 3 forwards combined to set up Josie Milton. Ashley scored from Carvenan for the Kodiaks' 9th to close out the second period. The Coventry Skydome cut a wintry scene in the third, with a fog starting to form above the ice. An unassisted goal from Ellie Goldstone made it 10-0 with a wrist shot. Overall, it was a cleaner game compared to the previous week, but we still saw a range of penalties on both sides, with the final Phoenix tripping penalty resulting in a penalty shot after Ruby Allen was brought down when clear through on net. The resulting shot was confidently saved, though, by Ellie Jo Cole. The supporters were then treated to a spectacle of both squads skating laps to try and clear the fog above the ice, but that, in turn, made it thicker around the Coventry end. Josie Milton scored an unassisted goal after pouncing on a loose puck to finish the scoring, giving the Kodiaks an 11-0 win. Ellie Goldstone picked up player of the game for Cambridge, with Lucy Matthews awarded for the Phoenix after a solid performance in only her second WNIHL 2 game. Players' player of the game was given to Sophie Gallen. Cambridge had a total of 94 shots on the Phoenix net, and Coventry with a total of 6. The following day, a slightly changed Phoenix team headed down to Bristol for the first ever league game against the Bristol Huskies. After some vehicle trouble, the whole team made it to a rink and prepared to take to the ice. The Huskies played a great game, rolling through all of their 4 lines and showing the depth of the potential in their club. But the Phoenix proved to be the stronger team and executed a range of plays in front of a Bristol net. The Phoenix had a total of 57 shots on Bristol goaltender Rachel Alexander, compared to just 14 on Ellie Jo Cole of the Phoenix. Nikki Blower gave Coventry the lead 4 minutes in from Jenny Adams. The visitors then scored twice in just over a minute when Ice Maiden-sponsored Lucy Farasvet netted from Jenny Adams, before Michelle Ponter added a third from Sophie Gallen and Sarah Bagnall. The Phoenix started the middle session off equally as strong and scored twice 6 seconds apart, just 4 minutes in. Orla Beckett scored from Sophie Gallen for the first, before Louise Baker scored from Jenny Maybe and Sarah Bagnall to make it 5-0. Coventry would add another 3 goals across 4 minutes later in the period. Sophie Gallen converted on the power play from Lucy Farasvet and Michelle Ponter for the first, before Orla Beckett netted from Michelle Ponter and Nikki Blower soon after. Sophie Gallen made it 8-0 to close out the period with an unassisted goal. The visitors made a quick start to the final period, Orla Beckett notching their hat-trick marker 25 seconds in, when she scored from Michelle Ponter and Sophie Gallen. Alice Roffney then found the net from Jenny Adams with 8 minutes to go, before Michelle Ponter scored on a power play from Sophie Gallen with 1:14 to go to make it 11-0. Phoenix Player of the Game was awarded to Orla Beckett for her fantastic hat-trick, while the Players' Player of the Game was given to Louise Baker for what was a brilliant performance. Though this wasn't the result Bristol had hoped for, the club was upbeat after the game with what was an impressive amount of effort and heart put in against an established side like Coventry. They said it's more about than just a score, it's about the growth, resilience and never giving up. Player of the game went to Angelina Nardone. The Solent Amazons secured a 10-2 victory over the Lee Valley Vampires in a cup game that saw great team spirit and strong performances from both sides. The Amazons got off to a quick start, opening the scoring at 5:23, when Chantal Eyre netted one past Vampires goalie Abby Owen. Kelly Stevenson doubled the lead at 7:08 with her first goal for the Amazons, finishing a well-placed one-timer after a pass from Courtney Clay. Jessica Leslie added a third at 8:31, sending a powerful slap shot through traffic with assists from Jessica Banner and Chantal Eyre. The Vampires responded at 15:15 through Christina Martinson, who found space and sneaked a shot past Rosa Kosovitz. The Amazons rounded off the period at 19:15 when Leah Truman scored her first for the club with a beautiful snipe. The second period started quickly as Chantal Eyre scored her second of the game 6 seconds in. Lauren Dennis then added another at 25:55, taking advantage of a loose puck in the slot and firing it home. The Amazons had to kill a penalty at 26:52 when Courtney Clay was called for body checking, but they killed the penalty off nicely. Shortly after returning to full strength, Charlie Johnson capitalised on some battling play in front of the net at 30:57, with Dennis providing the assist. Jessica Leslie scored her second goal of the night at 39:33 with a nicely placed low shot and a tight angle. The final period saw more action from both sides. The Vampires fought back at 47:21 with Dimitra Marmalopoulou finishing off a solid team effort set up by Jessica Vine. Chantal Eyre scored at 45:58 with a well-timed pass from Rose Kent, and Selena Payne closed the scoring at 53:03, skating onto Kelly Stevenson's setup to fire into the net. Rosa Kosovitz made her debut in net for the Amazons and faced 10 shots, conceding 2 goals. At the other end, Abby Owen was tested throughout, facing 82 shots and making 72 saves in what was a great effort. Player of the game for the Amazons went to Sarah Taylor, with player of the game for the Vampires going to Abby Owen. After the game, Vampires goalie Abby very kindly provided us with her take on the game. Well, another happy loss. That sounds sarcastic, but actually we were buckled in for a tough game, and tough it was, but it could well have been worse. The first period nearly killed me, I won't lie. Someone said there were nearly 40 shots, and I felt every one of them. We may have given them 4 goals, but we didn't let it go unanswered, with Christina Martinson swinging in with a beautiful unassisted goal. Once our laces were tied, thanks Bethany, we went back out for the second period, and Chantal Eyre welcomed me back with a breakaway and a shot above my blocker less than 6 seconds in. Gonna look grim on the game sheet, but if you don't laugh, you cry. The Vamps picked up some zone time this period, which gave me a much-needed break, and we let them have another 4 goals, for morale reasons, of course. Cheeky dance break and then into a third, which was a very respectable 2-1 period, with Demetria picking up the rebound to sink the puck into the back of the net. Solent fired a gnarly 82 shots at me, and the heart rate warnings from my smartwatch can attest to that. Shout out to our player Jess Vine, proving that you don't need a stick to play D. I've never written a match report before, but here's a terrible roundup by a battered goalie, absolutely shoving calories into our body. Super fun game with a friendly bunch. You were a great challenge, Solent. Thanks for having us. And you have to love that gallows humour, don't you, at the end there. In the Under-16s League, Haringey Hounds came away from Milton Keynes with a 7-0 win. That's all for this week, but if you haven't done so already, please check out the exclusive interview that Zero Pucks Given and Ice Maidens hosted with Invicta Dynamics defender Anna Chiara Beltrami. It's one not to be missed. So, see you all next time. Bye for now.
Please make sure you're following us across all social media platforms
to keep you fully up to date with all things WNIHL.
On Facebook,
follow Ice Maidens, the voice of women's ice hockey,
and check out the website at icemaidens.wordpress.com.
On Instagram and on Twitter.
You can find the podcast
at ZPG Ice Maidens.
And for YouTube,
you can subscribe to Zero Pucks Given.
Please like, follow, share and subscribe.
It all does wonders for spreading the good word
of the ZPG network.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Now Taxes is 100% free when you file in the TurboTax app if you didn't file with us last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just do your own taxes in the app by 2/18.
What if I have lots of forms?
All good, all 100% free.
What if I had 3 jobs?
Still 100% free.
What if I once saw Bigfoot?
That has nothing to do with taxes, so still 100% free.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Now this is Taxes. See if you qualify in the TurboTax app. Excludes TurboTax Live, must start and file in app by 2/18.